Dan with DMEC Outdoors here. Today I'm going to be bringing you my third installment on the tabletop exercise that I've been doing with Steve Corsair Trainers. The tabletop exercise that we're involved with right now is how you would manage yourself during day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of an EMP that caused a power infrastructure collapse in your area. So you guys have already seen installments 1 and number 2. If you and part of the check is that he wanted us to set an alarm at a certain point so that we could trigger the exercise in our heads and when at a random time. And if you have watched my earlier installments, you will have noticed that when my alarm went off, I was actually in the process of having a new child. So we storybooked it. So I storybooked my tabletop exercise into the mental concept that I was going to have to be dealing with having a child and delivering a baby with a power collapse, with an infrastructure collapse. So getting into, so recapping day 1 and day 2. Day 1, I had to go and get my wife 13 miles away from home through a power lost city right there, and we were able to unite and get back to our domicile, and we were even able to meet up with some of our tribal members, and they, seeing our situation, decided to move their family into our house for a couple of reasons, but they came down to help us with the delivery. But in that first day, having to travel the 13 miles, my wife, we're storybooking that the wife went into labor right there, and that we had to deliver the child without the standard trip to the hospital type of deal right there. So, and then moving into day 2, we had stopped and sent out a party to go try to find a medical professional that would be able to give his opinion and make sure that the wife was safe and ready to rock right there. So that's kind of where we were at with day 2. So moving into day 3, we're just going to kind of talk about some of the things that I would be doing, I guess, and ways that I would take on the event. So in in my storybook timeline right there, I've got a second family with me, I've got neighbors with me, and we've got a brand new child. So day 2, day 3, you can pretty much assume that me and the wife are going to be doing everything we can to get as much rest as possible. We're gonna work at passing out and getting everyone else to pitch in and help us out however we can. Fortunately for me, my tribal members are super, and my neighbors are really cool, and they're totally willing to help, and I'm a pretty prepared person, and I've got a lot of abilities, so a lot of my team members are going to be relying on me, so they're going to want to keep me up and active, so they're definitely going to be here helping. So I can expect on day 3 to be getting in communication with some of my tribe and some of my clan members right now, because we all live pretty close to each other. We walk to each other's houses on a regular basis to go and hang out and kick it in the backyard and stuff. So I can assume that someone has going to have reached out to us, or we are going to have reached out to them at some point. I don't necessarily have Faraday cages built, but I do have walkie-talkies put away in ammo cans down deep in the basement. And there is possibility that those things are going to work for me, because they are in an insulated, sealed situations, Faraday-esque boxes, and they are deeper under the house in the ground, so they might be a little bit more insulated from EMP hit. Who knows? I'm going to assume that I may or may not be able to get into a radio. But with all that in mind, we're going to be checking all of those different. I'm going to check every single piece of electronic equipment that I have staged in the house, in the different areas, all the different little, power. The benefit of working at a car dealership and rental car company for the last decade is that I've acquired a lot of random stuff that has shown up in cars. So I've got like a million little power inverters and, cigarette plug, this, that, or whatever. So you can guarantee that every single piece of electronic that's still laying around in my collection is going to get tested to see if I can generate power one way or another. And if not, we're going to be tearing those things down, and we're going to be getting out, torches and soldering irons and the electrode kit, and we're going to start rebuilding some stuff right there and seeing if we can't get some capacitors, put it back in that got fried on circuit boards. Because fortunately, being a millennial, that was some of the things that we did growing up, is we had the little science kits and the electronic kits where we got to learn how to build circuit boards and everything there. So I've got the ability to do micro circuitry, comfortable enough to where I could try to rebuild some power stuff there. But those are, so I'm going to be looking at my equipment, and I'm going to be assessing what's working and what's not working on day 2 and day 3. That's what we're going to be doing in the background right there. But you can absolutely guarantee on day 3 we're having a hurricane party. Anyone that's been in hurricane country, that's been without power for a week or so, knows exactly what the hurricane party is. That's when the whole block empties out the fridge and freezer because it's all going to spoil, and you all, just like you said, Steve, you all turn the barbecue on and start throwing down. And so you can assume for the next couple of days there's going to be feasting going on, realistically. We're going to want to keep spirits up in the neighborhood, and I'm not going to want people to get too worried, because everyone's going to be a little bit on edge knowing that all of their electronics are not working. So I think it's a really good idea to have a block party style fiesta, to where everyone is just letting their hair down a little bit and letting their frustrations out, and able to join in on the camaraderie, but be able to lean on each other's backs, so that we can all really get prepared for the hardships that are going to be coming ahead. Because realistically, we like to think that us preppers are going to be the only ones that are going to be truly prepared, but let's be real, man. We're all humans. We're all animals. We all have instincts. And as soon as the cell phone and the flashlight and everything stops working in your pocket, you're going to know that something rough is up, whether you're of the prepared mindset or not. So keeping that knowledge there, a knowledge of realism, everyone's going to know that something not right is happening, because there's no power anywhere. So we're going to do what we can to build that community and strengthen that community and build that camaraderie as fast as possible. And if that means me running through my 2 deep freezers and cooking up the elks and the steak and all the game meat and everything that we've got down there, then so be it, man. It's not going to last long enough for me to worry about trying to stack it and store it anyways, without the power and without the ability to generate power. So baby, let's get going, and that way we can at least have a couple of days of strong nourishment to truly gather all of our resources together, and start preparing for the inevitable future of not having infrastructure. So part of that preparation, I believe, is going to be talking to each of the families that come around to the block party, and I'm not going to want to be, uh, prophesying fear and doomsday or anything like that. And I'm not really going to be one to be speaking up too loud about this on the block, other than the fact that I'm going to be just, say, yeah, it's going to be a good idea that we start, making sure that whoever has fruit trees, or harvesting fruit and distributing it amongst the neighbors and stuff like that. The benefit of being in Utah right here currently is that there's the city was established on a prepper mindset, because the original settlers of Salt Lake City were the members of the LDS Mormon faith, and they had been, eradicated from the East Coast, essentially. With the extermination proclamation, they essentially, the U.S. government had put out an extermination order on them, so they had to flee westward, 1,500 miles across the plains from the Mississippi River there to really be able to get away from the persecution that they were receiving. So when they built their city, they built it as the preppers that they were, and as the people that had to run away from a tyrannical government that they were experiencing at the time. So with that, they built irrigation, they built, there's springs everywhere. Every property on the block darn near has fruit trees. There's a lot of gardens around. The church themselves teaches to be prepared, and there's food storage, stores everywhere. So my average neighbor is going to be 10 to 15% more prepared than some of you guys that are in just regular average everyday neighborhoods like that. So I've got a little bit of benefit right there, because a lot of the guys around me are already thinking about this sort of stuff. So day 3, I'm really just going to focus on communicating with and building trust with my neighbors, and really getting connected with the neighbors, and starting to build that trust. Now, the next thing that I'm going to be doing on day 3 and day 4 is I'm going to start fortifying my house, because it's inevitable that we're going to be here for a while, and we're going to be dealing with this situation for a while. I'm not going to bug out unless I have to. I'm going to bug out only if if it really hits the fan, and the fires start coming, and the bullets start flying, this, that, or whatever. But other than that, we're gonna stake down with that which we got, and we're gonna make it happen. So I'm going to start fortifying my position. I'm not going to do it to where the neighbors are going to see my fortifications, but I'm going to start filling up the sandbags. I'm going to start filling up all the boxes with dirt that I can. Fortunately, I've got one of the rooms in my basement is totally unfinished, and there's still, probably about 30 cubic yards of dirt in that room, so I can privately fill my sandbags with dirt in a closed room there. So that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be filling sandbags. We're going to start lining the front walls. We're going to start fortifying the windows and everything on the inside right there, because I know I'm going to be here for a while, and then I'm going to need that fortification when it really hits the fan. So we're going to go ahead and enact that part of my plan, to where we're going to not necessarily lock down, but we're going to get the ball rolling quickly on hardening our perimeter right here, because I am in a city. I am in a tough area to survive, but the benefit that I have is that I have community to connect with. And the block that we're on is we're in a pretty heavily populated downtown area, but it's a little bit less populated of a block, and it's going to be pretty easy to lock down the block once we all decide that that's something that we need to do. So, and I'm right in the middle of the block, so fortunately I've got a lot of ingress egress through backyards, and I'm about as far away as it gets from all the intersection and choke points right there on the block. So there's things that we've obviously considered beforehand, but day 4, fortification. We're going to, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm not going to be sending any parties out too much, because it's kind of understood that my house is the rally point, I guess you would say, with me and my buddies and my crew. So I'm expecting people to start showing up at any point. So that's just what we're going to get prepared for, man. We're going to lock down the house, we're going to lock down the yard, and we're going to connect with our neighbors so that we can all pull forward. I've got neighbors that are a heck of a lot better at gardening than I am. We've got, there's plenty of abilities in my neighborhood here. Heck, the guy 4 houses down, he's like super crazy machine tech, build it up. He runs a hot air balloon business, and so that, he's got all sorts of crazy stuff at his house. So we've got a lot of talent on the block in the neighborhood here. So and we've all connected enough and talked enough regularly to where if it were to hit the fan and we had to deal with it, we're going to be able to talk to each other and communicate and make it happen easily enough to where we're all going to be able to move forward, and not we're going to be able to go up the mountain and not down the hill type of thing. So that's the way that we're going to do it. So thank you for helping, or for getting this tabletop rolling, man. I really enjoy doing it. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you some of my integrity checks right there, because I haven't done any of the integrity checks on video, but I can guarantee you we are good to go with everything that you've come out with. And we've even added to it a little bit, just to, some of the nice things about the integrity check is that I actually did add to it. I checked my bike tires and stuff like that, and everything was good, but I went and bought a bike trailer after I started thinking about it, because it's something we've wanted for a while anyways, to tow the kids around. But it would be nice to have if I did need to use it in a collapse situation. So we went ahead and got that little bike trailer right there. I needed more toilet paper anyways. Realistically, I was getting pretty low, but we're moving, so I've been focusing on working through my stockpile, so I don't have to get rid of it or transport too much of it. We're just going to rebuild once we get to our new location. But we went out and bought some new toilet paper, and but then maps, I had that covered, and you'll see my map section here in just a second. But yeah, EMP collapsed down. My main focus is getting to know my neighbors better than I already know them at this point, because we're going to need each other. We're all going to need each other. We can't do this alone. So you'd be crazy to think that you're going to be able to do it alone. So get to know your neighbors now, because you're going to need them then. D-Mac signing off. Cheers. All right, Steve, integrity check time. You asked me how much toilet paper we've got. Currently, I've got, looks like 33 rolls stacked up right there. I've got a case of baby wipes, and I've got a case of baby wipes. So, pretty good on that stuff. You asked about maps. We've got the maps. Here in the wife's car, here's the wife's map packs. I've got just a road atlas right there, and that's going to be just your general 50 state maps right here. And then we've got the map pack. Let's dive into this map pack real quick. I honestly don't remember exactly what maps I stuffed in here, because they've been in here for a while, so this is kind of fun to do this little integrity check. Let's see what I've got. Let's see. Pulling it all out. Let's see here. So it looks like I've got a Utah, Nevada, just state level map right here. That's good for my area. Central and Western United States. Welcome to Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado. So those are states that I travel through somewhat regularly to get back home to Georgia, between here and Utah. So we obviously have maps there just in case we needed to be able to get through those certain states. I've also got, this is just another road atlas, 50 state road atlas, and then this looks like another 50 state road atlas. So wife's got pretty good maps in her car at the moment. So alright, now we're in the Jeep. We're going to show you some more maps right here. Maps are kind of one of the things I really enjoy. So I've got those. I've actually got a pretty extensive map pack in the Jeep here, but it would be, it's kind of expected. I do a lot of backcountry off-roading and stuff like that in the Jeep, so I'm going to have all of my trail guides and trail maps and stuff right here. So I actually have like a whole tool bag of maps right here, but let's just diving in so you can see. Here, I'm just going to pull them all out. And so it's just a national parks guide, and then I'm not going to dive too deep into those because these are mostly books. I don't have too many paper maps in here, but you can see Utah trails, climbing guides, hiking guides. This is going to be kind of my go-to, and then these are just personal notes and stuff like that, personal maps, personal GPS plots and everything right there in those little journals. But so those are going to be all my driving trail guides. And then I've just got a road atlas of the United States right here. And then I've got a road atlas of Utah. So I've got like Google Maps for Utah. And then I've got, this is where it gets a little ridiculous. I'm sorry. I've also got this map pocket. And this is going to be where all the paper maps are. This is going to like, this, all the state parks, national parks, this, all the different states, all this, that, or whatever. And just to get an idea. You know, so we've got, let's see, Utah recreational map. I've got all my off-roading maps. God, there's Colorado. I've got topo maps for hunting areas. We've got northern. So we've got, you know, there's just maps on maps on maps in here. So we've got the maps. All right, well, integrity check number 3 was, I believe was, I think it was number 1, but one of the 3 integrity checks so far was bicycles or alternate transportation, making sure those were all up ready to run. So we use the bikes in our family pretty regularly. However, this tabletop exercise did inspire us to get a new piece of equipment. So we went secondhand shopping, found a really good deal on a used bike trailer, and so I've got a little bike trailer right now that I can hook up to my bicycle. So this is one of the bikes right here. This is one that I slapped together a couple years ago, just a little single speed, little city bike right there. I can cruise pretty quick on that one in and out of the city. And then I've got a mountain bike that I've been slowly building up right now. Inspired to get that one finished. I need to get the bottom bracket sorted out and a new chain for it, and then I need to rerun the shifting cables. Brake cables are good, but my shifting cables are messed up on that. So we've been slowly rebuilding that bike, and then in here we've got I've got one more bike, and this one's ready to rock as well. That's just another city cruiser. And then I've got tires and tubes and pumps and all that stuff. So we're good on that. We've even got the little wagon right there. The kid, you know, we've got a couple options for towing and pulling without having to be able to use the cars.